told it so many times.
Very intriguing.
And I know it so well. There was a girl who fell for two.
Stillness is not something that we often see as something that's pretty important, because a lot of times our lives are moving in 1,000 miles an hour. We're constantly taking on things, family things, business, work, school, whatever it is, depending on what you're doing. We often forget that stillness is even a thing or possible or something that we should be looking for or trying to add to our lives. But the importance of stillness, especially with a lot of I see with traders, is when I first started trading, everything that I did, everything that I breathed was trading. And that's good. There are certain chapters in your lives where you will be so dialed in, you'll be so working, everything that you do will be focused on whatever vision that you have in mind. But you have to think of it as, if you have such a strong vision, if you care about it enough, you'd implement the rest periods in which that vision is going to continue to grow and actually perform better than what you thought it would be. And I'm currently in San Diego right now on a spontaneous trip. I was in Scottsdale, and one morning I hit my buddy up and I was like, "You want to drive to San Diego?" So we drove to San Diego. We got an Airbnb for a couple of days, and we're just chilling out on the beach. But being here and just being in the moment reminds me of the importance of stillness. I think social media, and especially what you guys see online of business and entrepreneurs and the grind and all that shit, I think you guys got to realize you get to design your life whatever you want. I work, and then I love to do nothing. But doing nothing doesn't just mean doing nothing. It's perceived as doing nothing. It's actually stillness. Stillness refills the soul, connects you to the things around you, connects you to the people around you, and really gets you to a state of peace. I know people that make millions and millions of dollars a year, and no matter where they are in the world, they can be on a beach in Hawaii, they can be in Italy, they could be literally anywhere, but wherever they are, they're unsatisfied. They're constantly thinking about something else. They're constantly thinking about working, making more, striving for more. And they realize that all of the moments in life that they've built up and all of the work that they put in really is for nothing, because what they really wanted, they can't even achieve because their mind is so skewed to what work is, to what money is, to what they're actually value driven is. And a lot of people look to those things to fill the soul. A lot of people look to money and the achievements that they're looking for to fill that piece of side of them that they're looking for. And you have to perceive it that money is just a tool. Money is just a tool for you to be able to then learn more about yourself and what you want and what you like in the world around you. And I'm very, very fortunate at such a young age to be able to, number one, have money, but to be able to figure this out at such a young age where money is not the root of all. It's not what you want. Now, it's what you want, but money is just the next step to get what you actually want, which is actually designing the life that you want to have, actually designing the person that you want to be, because the satisfaction from just money alone isn't going to do that for you. Now, it's going to do that for you for a little bit of time. When I made a 300K in my first year that I actually started making money, it was satisfying. It was, because I was able to do things that I normally wouldn't be able to do. But after I was able to do all the things I wanted, I realized, okay, well, now what? Once you start working, once you get past that point of the initial money and the goal that you have in mind, the bar and the goal starts to increasingly get higher. And that's why people always feel stuck. People feel stuck because they continue to work their way up without realizing what they actually want inside. And I think the problem with young entrepreneurs, and the reason why I love doing this series, is to bring light to the side of trading, the side of entrepreneurship that people don't talk about, which is you. People always want to talk about the money, they want to talk about the work that's being done, but they don't want to talk about what's actually going on inside. Like, that's the real value. How do you feel? Does it really matter if you made $1 million if you want to fucking kill yourself inside? No, it doesn't. And I think people need to take that more seriously. You need to be able to understand yourself and look at yourself as a designed being and know how to read it. Read your mind, read your thoughts. What do you want? How do you feel in certain situations? How do you feel when you do achieve something, when you don't achieve something? Because what has been kind of pushed to you, it's like, I see so many kids online, they're like, I just want to make a bunch of money and move to Dubai. Dubai's not going to solve your problems. Money's not going to solve your problems. It might for a second, you might feel good, you might get that little dopamine hit, and that's good, because that'll continue to, give you some more motivation to keep working. But I think it is extremely important in everybody's journey once they start making money, where the why flips. When I first started trading and when I first started my business, my why was just so I could move out of my parents' house. I wanted to move out. I wanted my own apartment. I wanted a nice car. And that was pretty much it. I wasn't really thinking beyond that. Once I achieved that, I found myself in a state of limbo because I didn't know what I was working for. I didn't know what I wanted. It was like, am I just working for the money? But like, there's really nothing else in life that I could possibly need to fulfill me and be satisfied. But why am I not? Like, I have a nice car. I have a beautiful apartment. I can travel wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. And I realized that that's not the goal. It's just a tool. What the goal is what are you learning about yourself in the process? Because that is the value. The money is not the value. What the value is the experiences that you have with yourself in life. Me being able to sit here on this beautiful beach and just talk my mind, and I have zero worry in the world except for just sitting here being at peace and talking about this. I don't think anything is more valuable than that, because that is actual true value in feeling. Money doesn't do that. You watching this video probably feel like this video is more valuable than other things because you haven't heard these ideas spoken out loud. It's like we can't talk about it. No, you just haven't really put the time to think that this is an important thing that you should be thinking about. So one of my pieces of advice for people, and again, I know this is when what I'm talking about is kind of later on in the journey, but for those of you who are not yet there or at the point where if you feel like no matter where you are, and this is for people at any stage of their journey, if you're broke, if you have money, and if you're freaking rich, but if you are the type of person to no matter where you find yourself still uneased. You can't sit still. You can't really enjoy life. You can't really enjoy the present because you're constantly thinking you need more. You need to do more. Time is being wasted. If that is you, I ask of you to try and practice these things and think about these things in your head. A lot of the times we trick ourselves. And I used to do this all the time. And until I started reading like philosophy, until I started reading Wayne Dyer and a lot of these ideas that helped me understand why I felt the way I did when I was making money. I had everything I wanted, but like I was not like satisfied like I thought I was. And one of the things that you have to understand is the prize is life. The gift is life. The gift is you. Everything that you want lies here. Everything that you could possibly want lies here. Your perception of what's around you, your perception of what you need in life, your idea of what you need to be happy. Like everybody's like, oh, when I achieve this, I'll be happy. Or when I achieve this, I can finally do this. Or when I make this, I can finally do this. No, that's a lie that you've been fed your entire life. Everything that you could possibly want right now is all here. Now, you might think, Justin, that's not possible. I want $1 million, and I can't just like have $1 million in an instant. You can have $1 million, but you can act like $1 million doesn't affect the way that you live. And I guarantee you then what happens is you manifest the entirety of what you want. As soon as you can change the perspective of the life and the person that you are, life has to catch up to that. So why put yourself in a negative environment where you know perceiving yourself as poor, perceiving yourself as out of reach, perceiving yourself as unable to be still, of course you're going to feel like shit. I think manifestation is a big part of the idea of stillness because you trust. It's the trust. Manifestation is a big part of trust. The reason you can be at peace and feel still is because you know that the time that you're doing right now is exactly where it needs to be in relationship to the journey to where you're going. I know that me sitting in this moment is just a little piece of sand in my entire journey. But that sand still makes up the whole beach, which is why it's important. And I think you can really find peace and enjoyment in life when you get to perceive it this way. Because life is a blessing. Life is a gift. People like to think negatively. And again, I always get comments like this too. Justin, you only think like this and you only say this because you have money. It's not true. I tell my mom and dad and my brother and everything. I used to be like this all the time. And I always will be because this is the truth and how I want to live my life. I want to live my life not striving for money, but striving for the experience and the journey of self-discovery through whatever that vessel is that will get me that money. Whether it's a business, working with people that I care about, my friends, learning stuff about myself, getting into hardships, right? Having to solve problems. Because when we're in the moment in these ideas, we get so stressed out. It's like, oh my God, I have to solve a problem. Oh, this just came up that I didn't expect. And the reason why you feel stressed and the way you feel anxious is because you're setting expectations and intentions for what you're doing. And when it doesn't get met in the time requirement you want in your head, it's like you're a failure. You perceive yourself as a failure. You perceive yourself as everything's not going right. And you feel like you're cursed. When you tell yourself these things, and when you perceive the life like this, the only thing you're doing is attracting more of that energy because you're already thinking it. You reflect your reality. Your inner world is reflected right back in your outer world. And if your inner world is not positivity, gratefulness, stillness, then how could life ever give that in reflection to you? So, like I said before, everything that you could possibly want right now in your life can all come through here and here. And as soon as you start first becoming the version of you with what you have instead of what you don't have, you'll realize that what you don't have is really nothing but something that you will achieve later on. And so there's no reason to worry about it. Life is a gift, and the journey, in the gift of the journey of everything that you do is something so existentially amazing that we can't comprehend it. We live in a world where negative things surround us all the time in the media. When you go on your phone, you're seeing negativity. And a lot of the times in school and everything around us, when we grow up, we're kind of fed to see the bad. We're fed to see the bad things. It's always what we can do more, what we want more of, and constantly striving for those next things. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a good thing, is to work for something you want, but what the negativity of it is that infiltrates your brain is that everything that you want is something that has to be taken, something that has to be worked for. And I disagree. I think that's a lie that's been fed, is that you don't have to work for everything. Now, you might be like, Justin, what the fuck do you mean? Let me explain. The reason why you don't have to work for everything is because your perception of what work is only makes it work if you think it's work. I don't perceive anything that I do as work. The work that I do is just me living life and doing the thing that I enjoy to do, and everything else falls into place. The only reason why things don't fall into place for people is because they're expecting something. Their intentions are there. They're not following the footsteps and trusting it. Trust allows you to manifest and create the reality in which you want to create. And as soon as you have a vision of what you want, the life that you want to have, the person that you want to be, and you practice sitting in the moment and really creating the idea and the vision in your head of that person and the world that you want to be living in, the world will have to catch up to that vision because your perception of it has completely shifted. And so you'll start seeing everything and attracting everything that you want in your life. If you see the positive, if I think about how I want to have more valuable connections, I find myself talking to people more. I find myself being and spreading more positive energy. I find myself going out of my way to do things I normally wouldn't do. And it's because I'm all putting these ideas into my brain first so that my subconscious can then act it out. And that's why it's effortless work. So when I say work is not really work, it's effortless work because you're changing the perception of it. And I think people that are stuck in the rat race and people that are stuck in today's society that are depressed and sad and all these things, I genuinely think it's just because they don't know how much power they hold in their brain. I don't think many of you guys realize how much power you hold to create the reality in which you want to live. You are built by God and have the power of God to create and envision whatever you want. And I don't know why anybody would not want to live life like this. It's so amazing. Like, why would you not want to have that inner childlike spirit be able to perceive in everything that you do? I've gotten to a point, and again, I continue to practice this, and I always focus on this. I think, especially with the whole, like, Andrew Tate type commentary, red pill, blue pill type shit that's been going on the last couple years. I think men specifically have lost this idea of like, you can't be childlike. The whole reason you should be living is to be childlike. And the reason I say that is because without childlike perception, without the perception that everything around you is like the coolest thing you've ever seen, that is how you create the magic in life. Nobody's telling you you can't think like that. And I think it's extremely important to practice that way of perception because it's so magical. When you look at life like it's nothing, like, oh, everybody else is here on this beach right now. There's palm trees. I've seen palm trees before. You know, it's just a normal day. I can't wait so I can go back home and do the work I need to do. Why would you want to live your life like that? Being ungrateful and not being able to sit still, not being able to really sit in the moment and fully embrace the life that you're given. Think about it this way. Imagine when you were a kid, right? Imagine the feeling of you being a kid. Going to the park or going on a trip with your parents. It feels like the world is so bright and saturated and beautiful, and you're so intrigued and excited about every little thing in your life. It's because it's so new. That is all here. You can perceive life that way if you want. And I highly recommend you do so because it really makes you feel great and you gain a new perspective that most of the things in your life you take for granted. We take for granted so much in our life, and as soon as we can continue to practice gratefulness and remind ourselves in every moment that we find ourselves thinking and overthinking and maybe feeling stressed or anxious, that we can sit there and look around us and say, wow, I'm so very, very blessed to be able to even experience this. And right now, being in this moment, I'm so blessed to be able to be sitting on this beach with wonderful weather and have the priority and honestly just the privilege to be able to drive and not have to, worry and have the freedom to be able to, especially with trading, I have the freedom to work wherever I want. And being able to come here, sit and just share my ideas and reflect is something so very special. The last thing I just want to cover in this video is you have to submit to your journey. When you worry, and me and my buddy Cam were talking to a bunch of students of his last night that were at our house that we met up with. And one of the things that we were talking about with them is that you hold yourself back in everything that you do. When you act like you know what you're doing in every aspect, you will know what you're doing because you will manifest and you will end up walking into the spot in which you need to be. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, when they want to get into business, they want to get into trading, they want to learn how to edit, they want to learn a skill, they want to make money, whatever it is, it feels in their brain so out of reach because a lot of the times you guys have been told your entire life by your parents you can't do it, or that's not normal, or it's out of the ordinary. And it's because also you're not surrounded by these people. And one thing I realized last night is we had some of Cam's students come on and we talked till like 1:30 in the morning. And I realized, I'm like, so many people are trapped in that mindset. So many people are trapped because they've been told their entire life they can't do it. It's not normal. Like, why? Like, you want to do what? And they think that it's so far out of reach. And it's because they surround themselves with these ideas. So you have to focus on surrounding yourself with the people you want to be like in certain aspects, whether it's they have, the certain perception or certain perspective of life that you want to have, or a certain relationship that you envy, or a business model that they envy. They're doing better than you in business, right? You want to surround yourself with people that are doing better than you, and surround yourself with people with positive energy. There are energy vampires in your life, and everybody has them, where they just, when you're in the room or anything, like, they suck the energy out of you, and you want to do as much as possible as you can to get away from them, because you have to value, and we talked about this last episode, but it's protecting your energy. It's protecting everything that you do in your life, because the more that you become aware of how you feel when you're around certain people, when you consume certain content, when you listen to certain music, when you eat certain things, you realize everything is sensitive to the energy that you have. And if you want to be happy, and everybody does, and if you want to be able to be at peace, and everybody does, then you start being aware of these things that are popping up in your life that are holding you back from experiencing that reality in which you want to experience. And I think the more that you become aware to it, the more sensitive you are to the things in your life that are causing you to fray away from the version of you that you want to be, the more that you just have to have the discipline to cut it out. And you have to ask yourself what you want. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on this beautiful day in San Diego Beach. Reminder to you, practice stillness. Everything that you want is coming your way. Relax, enjoy the journey, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.